Hey guys, it's your favorite 2-2 for 2, the MTG Bear. Today we're looking at the top 10 best counterspells in Magic the Gathering. If you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe if you wish to see similar videos. Let's begin. We're going to start with an honorable mention. It goes out to Counterspell. This is the bar at which all other counterspells are measured. 2 blue mana, counter target spell. Efficient, simple. It's the honorable mention because it is the benchmark. At number 10, we have the aptly named Mental Misstep. 1 Phyrexian mana for the ability to counter any spell with mana value of 1. First off, you rarely ever pay the mana for this. Most of the time, this is paid with 2 life. And because of that, it's played in almost every deck it can be played. Because countering a turn 1 play or just countering your opponent's Mental Misstep is often worth running the card. The reason it's number 10 is simply because it's banned in a lot of formats where it would be good and has very little impact on formats where it's not, like Commander. It's all or nothing with this card, and I think number 10 is fair. Speaking of Commander, number 9 is Fierce Guardianship. 2 and a blue to counter a non-creature spell wouldn't normally make this list, however, in the Commander format specifically, this is a powerhouse, as if you control your Commander, this spell is free. There's going to be a lot of free or discounted counterspells on this list, and honestly, if this list was only for the Commander format, Fierce Guardianship might be number 1 or number 2. I have this at number 9 because I want to include it on the list, but the Commander only restriction is a huge downside. I am unsure about this one. Let me know what you think about the placement of Fierce Guardianship down in the comments. Number 8 is going to be Pact of Negation for 0 mana, counter target spell, but on your next turn you have to pay 5 mana or you lose the game. Pact of Negation is your lifeline counter when you have to stop the Cyclonic Rift or Krark Clan Ironworks or whatever combo piece from coming down, or else you're just going to lose the game anyway. The upkeep cost is hefty at 5 mana and will significantly impact your preceding turn, but if it's used correctly, it'll let you get that next turn. This is a very specific niche kind of counter spell, and it occupies the number 8 spot because of this. Lucky number 7 is Spell Pierce, a single blue mana to counter a non-creature spell unless they pay 2. This conditional counterspell is Control's early game staple interaction and is seen in many formats. Stopping early plays while being relevant in the late game if they tap out is very useful, and because of this, it occupies a lot of sideboard slots in various formats depending on the meta. I remember being very excited when this was reprinted back in Ixalan Standard and the recent Neon Dynasty Kamigawa Standard, and allows Control to function early game. It's a solid, efficient card with no drawbacks, and it's an easy number 7. Number 6 is going to be my meme pick of the list. It's Mana Tithe. 1 mana counter target spell unless they pay 1 mana. This is white Force Spike. Okay, look, this isn't the most powerful card, but no one ever sees this coming. No matter the format, if it's legal, if you leave 1 white open, they'll expect either Path or Swords, but they won't expect to be countered if they tap out. Countering a person who tapped out with this card is one of the best feelings in the game. There's also the benefit where if an opponent is caught off guard with Mana Tithe, they'll almost always play around it in future games, even if you don't include it in your decks or it's not in your hand. But Mana Tithe is a solid number 6 for its surprise factor and its meme value. Halfway through the list is Swan Song. For single blue mana, you counter an enchantment, instant, or sorcery spell, and the opponent gets a 2/2 flying bird. The bird is a very small drawback for what you get with this counterspell, as it lets you win counter wars, snipe important combo pieces or tutor spells, and has a very low cost of a single blue mana. If you're running blue, especially in a format like Commander, this is a very good pickup, as the 2/2 bird body is going to be almost completely irrelevant in the grand scheme of the game. The reason it's in the middle of the pack is because of its targeting limitations, as it cannot hit creatures and is limited to instants, enchantments, and sorceries. It's a great card and a solid number 5 on the list. Number 4 is going to be Flusterstorm. For a single blue mana, you counter an instant or sorcery spell unless that player pays 1, and it has Storm. So by itself, it makes the opponent pay 2. 1 for the original copy of Flusterstorm and 1 for the Storm copy of Flusterstorm, because Storm counts all spells played in a turn, including the opponent's. The power comes with the inability to counter the spell effectively, as it makes multiple copies of counter unless you pay 1. If you're in a counter war, they can stop 1 or 2 copies maybe, but often they can't counter all of the copies. This is also the perfect counter for a Storm opponent, as it can counter each individual copy of Tendrils of Agony or Grape Shot or Empty the Warrens that your opponent has on the stack, unless they pay 1 for each one of the copies. This is a crucial card in control mirrors against Storm decks, and definitely deserves its number 4 slot on the list. Number 3 on the list is going to be Force of Negation. 1 blue, counter a non-creature spell and exile it instead of putting it in the graveyard. If it's not your turn, you can exile a blue card from your hand and cast this for free. This is a strong and flexible counterspell. The biggest limitation is that it only counters non-creature spells. Get a staple in every format that it's legal in. Force of Negation would be higher up on the list if it hit anything, but it deserves the number 3 spot because of the flexibility and the fact that it can make itself basically free. At number 2, we're going to have Mana Drain. So Counterspell is our baseline, right? How about a counterspell that provides a boatload of mana? That's Mana Drain. 2 blue, counter a spell and add amount of colorless mana equal to the mana value of the counterspell to your mana pool during your next main phase. This is so broken that a fixed version, Plasma Capture, exists to give us an idea of what this card would look like if it was balanced in a modern sense. The card is efficient, cheap, it does not have a free option. However, if you can utilize the additional mana that this card can provide on your subsequent plays, this will catapult you ahead of your opponent, especially if you can snag something big. And it's only number 2 on the list. And number 1 on the list, of course, is Force of Will. 5 mana to counter target spell, or the way it's typically played, by using the alternate cost. The alternate cost is paying 1 life and exiling a blue card from your hand to play Force of Will for free. This card is the glue that holds the Legacy format together, stopping insane combo decks like Goblin Charbelcher purely on the basis that the card is free. The free in air quotes cost is big, as you do have to discard a card, but being able to counter anything for no mana is insanely good. You can cast it for its 5 mana cost as well. It's not often that you do this, but the flexibility is appreciated. I'm putting it higher than Force of Negation because it can hit anything and it can include creatures, which is very, very useful. Force of Will is a staple in any format that it's legal in, including Commander, and is far and away the best counterspell. Alright guys, that's it for the top 10 best counterspells in Magic the Gathering. What did you think of my placements? Let me know down in the comments. And also, did you know only about 2.5% of the people who watch these videos are subscribed? Our current subscriber count is 518 with a goal of 1,000. We're a little over half the way there, so if you would be able to subscribe, it would be greatly appreciated. Have a great day, guys.